Just for a minute. We are here in Fulton, and we are so excited to be here. We decided to choose my Old Kentucky Road Trip as our book for the 10th book for my Old Kentucky, or for the Big Blue Book Club. I said to Amy, I want to go to Fulton. And she said, okay, why? And I said, no, she didn't say why, but she wanted me to explain myself. I said, first of all, nobody ever goes to Fulton for extension stuff because it is the furthest edge of the state. And it is pretty far out here. But I wanted to come to Fulton because nobody ever comes here, number one, and because you all have such a fun little place to visit. And so, I think this is Vicki.
And some of the best extension agents are out here.
Yeah, and you all have such fun agents out here. Vicki can hear me loud and clear, so we're ready to go. And so here we are, we're in Fulton. And also, if you have started reading, part 1 is the Jackson Purchase in Western Kentucky. It starts in the West, and it starts right here in Fulton. So it made sense to me that we started here in Fulton. So, maybe even our agents don't know this, but I was born in Caldwell County, so it's just a little bit up the road. And my dad used to come to Fulton to visit farmers back, I won't tell you how, well, you'll figure it out. A long time ago when I was just a baby, and now you know, 50 years ago, but he used to visit a farmer out in the Bubble Land. And that farmer was 84 years old. And at that time, my dad didn't know people got to be 84 years old. But guess what? My dad is now 84 years old. And so that farmer told him that in his lifetime, his farm had increased in acreage by 200 acres. And it wasn't because he bought more land. It was because the river had given him 200 more acres in his lifetime, which I think is fascinating. Usually we get more land because we acquire someone else's land or we buy more land or something. But this is a case where this farmer, he knew about climate change before any of us, the rest of us did, because the river was giving him more land. So I just find that fascinating. So, that's not something you're going to find in the book. You're not probably going to find it in any book because my dad hasn't written a book yet. And I can't even remember the name of the farmer. You all probably know the name of the farmer. But my dad's told me that story my whole life, and I just have found that fascinating. So here we are. We're in Fulton. I'm telling you all something about your own place that you probably already knew. But we are all excited to learn more about Fulton, Fulton County, Hickman, and the surrounding area, and that's why we are here. And so I'm going to turn it over to the experts. And so, Gunny, you're the expert. Mike Gunny is the Fulton City Manager. Okay, and he is here to share with us about, first of all, why Mr. Pills was our mascot, and he might be the only mascot that we're going to have at book club. But I think it's fun that we have a mascot, and I think we might see more of him before the day is out. But Mike, it's all you. And I'm gonna, I've got your, you just tell me when to, or can you click or do I need to click?
You can click for us.
Okay.
Thank you all for being here. First off, Anna kind of roped us into this, but you know how it goes. She kind of come and said, hey, I need a favor. We're always interested. We're always available to tell a story. And anytime we get to promote the city of Fulton, for us is a big deal. So we like doing that. So again, Fulton is in Fulton County. We're going to get in a little more of the history, and I'm going to probably pick on Mark to help me with some of it because I might get it wrong. He's a little older than I am. But we're gonna talk to you a little bit about kind of how we got to be, what made us, start out, how we started. And then we're gonna give you a neat little thing about Mr. Peels and give you that history about what was going on with him. So, this first picture you see is a train depot, and some will tell you that's how we started. And that is somewhat true, but technically the way we started, and maybe back up a minute and tell you all, I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Mississippi. And I'm gonna tell you something that's kind of, unique. I grew up right in North Mississippi, and we have a Fulton, Mississippi, and we have a Pontotoc, Mississippi. And some of you that are from here know why that's unique, and that's what I'm gonna tell you. The train depot, yes, most towns in America were built around the train. That's how they formed. But however, here, it's the geography of being pretty much in the heartland, center of the population, of America that made us, that was unique. And we'll kind of cover that. Why did it do that? But the Indians were really what started, here. So originally, once the railroad started, we were known as Pontotoc Stop. Well, that's an Indian word, and Pontotoc means land of the hanging grape. And I say that a lot. People look at me because I don't see many of those anymore, but used to be muscadine vines, and that apparently is what caused us to get that nickname. So anyway, but we quickly became a road mecca, a highway mecca. Just remember this about our geography, especially here, the city of Fulton. Back in the day, there were, before interstates, there were US highways. We have 2 US highways that run through here, US 45, which was a big one from Mobile to, help me, Mark, where's it, Lynn? Like somewhere up north of us. But it comes from Mobile all the way up through Mississippi. I grew up on US 45 and US 72, which is right in North Mississippi. You come here, we got you got US 45 north and south, you got 51 that's here as well. So US 51. So you had all that, and then you had the rail line. So we are dead center between Chicago and New Orleans on Canadian National Rail Line, which puts us again in a unique position. And all that plays into our history. So yeah, we quickly became a mecca for travel. You all have been a little bit down into downtown, and we'll walk around here in a little while, but a lot of that infrastructure and those buildings are gone, and it's just a matter of what happened over time. But we had opera houses, we had hotels, all of those things that were here. People would travel here, get off the train, might spend a night or two, and then they'd pick up and go on, whether they were going north or south. Today, we have 2 trains, Amtrak trains. One's going north and one's going south. It's a little bit late at night, about 2:30 and 3 something, whichever way they're going. I don't know which one goes, so the Amtrak stop, we are the largest Amtrak stop in Kentucky. There's only, I don't really know but one more, but just to give you an instance, we do about 4,000 passengers out of this Amtrak out here. Now, if you go out and visit it, we call it the Am Shack because it's been needed to be replaced for a very long time. We're really close to getting that. It's been about a 10-year project we've been working on, and the contracts are being let. So we're gonna get a new platform and a new train station. I think that's a big deal. This train station in this picture was downtown, and it's been taken down, which I wish they'd kept it, but I wasn't here then. So anyways, I wish they would have. Click to the next photo there. So the next picture is, and I don't know exactly what order I put them in. So I said we had hotels. This is the USANA Hotel. Mark, United States of North America, right?
North America.
That's what USANA stood for. You all can see, pretty elaborate hotel, right? When we walk out today, Mark and I'll show you where it's at. It's actually where the post office is now. And then you can see another depiction of it down here in a drawing. So that was one of the hotels. Did anybody stay here last night? Any of y'all? Where'd y'all stay?
We were at the Meadows.
So the Meadows was another famous hotel, and it's about a quarter of the size it was when it was original. It's burnt a couple of times over its history, but it used to be pretty much that whole block over there. So flip to the next picture. All right, so this is part of that history, and this is how we get to the bananas. What's that look like to y'all? Anybody notice what that stuff is?
Ice.
It's ice, right? So why did we become important? I just told you we were halfway between Chicago and New Orleans, and bananas came in from South America to the port. They got offloaded on the trains, and we're talking about back before refrigerated cars were ever invented. And so guess what? We just happen to be sitting in a good situation with an ice house to be able to re-ice those bananas before they continued on. And I believe that percentage, I think Kenny's got a slide in here, so my percentages are, I'm not even gonna give you one. I'm just gonna tell you that the majority of the bananas that came into the United States from the coast came through here. Because it was going up to the different centers up in the Northeast and areas there. So you can see there, Mark, that picture on the right, tell me what that is.
So, there was a spur off of the rail, so the cars would go under that, trellis or trestle. And that's how they moved the ice out of the plant onto the cars.
Yeah,
So that's part of.
I wasn't real sure if it was that way. I'd always heard it was a chute, but I see it now.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen that picture.
And
Yeah.
this is a dumb question, but the ice is made here?
Yes,
Yes.
it was a whole ice plant that built it here. It actually burnt. It's been redone. Our Public Works Operations Center sits on top of it. It's where the ice house was. So, that building has been a couple of different things, but anyways, I guess that is the building's there now, isn't it, Mark?
That's,
Well, it looks like it. I'm just saying,
that's what's,
I never dissected that photo, but those beams, those uprights are
that's the
still,
PW building.
that's the
yeah.
PW building, yeah. So that is the new ice house.
Yeah.
There was an older ice house that burned down. All right, flip
So
to
you
next,
still do ice here? You
No.
still-
No.
Okay.
flip next. All right, so again, and I introduced us as Fulton County and Fulton City. We are known as the Twin Cities, and you can't talk about, Fulton City proper without talking about South Fulton. So South Fulton, a block from here, if you walk over the window, you can see Tennessee. And we'll go down there today and you put one foot in Tennessee and one in Kentucky, make you a photo op. It's a good place, but so you all, the Meadows were on the corner of Tennessee and Kentucky. Now there's some debate and we won't get into the history. If Jim Martin was here, I'd let him tell it, but that line's a little bit off and it's all due to, them doing their, I guess, the surveyors had stopped for the war and then they came back and they messed up. But anyways, so there's some debate about whether we should be in Tennessee or Kentucky. So we fight about that a little bit every now and then. But you can't talk about, again, us in the city, because what happens here affects over there. What happens over there affects over here. Interesting point. I told you US 45 came in. I believe there were 7 gas stations between that stop sign at the Meadows where you all stayed in the edge of city limits. At the time, why? Everybody was traveling by car, right? So that was a big deal. All right, so the Banana Festival this year is scheduled for September 13th through the 29th of 2025. So all of you come back. I promise you it'll be a good
That's
time.
too many days, but okay.
Is it too many days?
Yeah, that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks and we're not going that long. Amen.
Well, Kenny did that for me and he probably messed it up. So what is the actual date? Give it to me. 13th through the 20th.
Yeah, that sounds right.
The 2 big days would be the 20th and the 19th. That's the Friday and Saturday. Grand Parade's on Saturday, concert, banana pudding. We're gonna get into that in a minute. All right, flip it. So again, this is just giving you a little history here, of what was happening with, the bananas and what came in here. So I can tell you that 62 years, I believe the festival's been running. Is that right, Mel? This is 63rd year? 62 or 63, somewhere in that neighborhood. Some entrepreneurs back in the day, we had the bananas here, right? So we already had that. Said, wait a minute, we need to come up with a marketing tool and something to use what we have already. So they started the International Banana Festival. Been going that long. That's a pretty long run for a lot of festivals. It's been up the hill and down the hill, and it's back up the hill. It's doing good, and I'll give you some numbers in a minute. But so they did that, started that heritage, and then we had a local dairy here. So some more guys got together, and there's a lot of history in there, names, but they basically got together and decided, we're gonna do something really good with bananas and pudding, custard. So they started making the world's largest banana pudding. We own that title, and we will keep it, because I don't care how big anybody else makes it, we're just gonna make one bigger, and that did happen. I'm told a place in Canada made ours is 1 ton, so 2,000 pounds. Place in Canada apparently made one in a hot tub several years ago that was 1.5 tons. Well, guess what we did? We just turned around and made a 2 ton. I can tell you that we put that together. If you come back, we put that together as a community project. We all take part in that. The ones of us that want to, we don't like super broadcast it, but we do let people come in, everybody dresses out. We got people slicing bananas through mandolins and we open cans of pudding now versus cook the pudding. And then mix it all into this big vat. You're gonna see a picture of it here in just a minute. But anyways, we do that on Friday. We do it in 1 hour and 5 minutes. So we're putting a whole 2,000 pound pudding together in 1 hour and 5 minutes. It's a pretty good sight to see. So again, I say that to say, nobody gonna beat us out. We'll just keep making a bigger pudding. All right, Liberty.
Maybe.
Maybe. Here you see the 1 ton pudding, and so we basically, that's the vat. Now, that was not the original vat. The original vat was a round acrylic bowl, and unfortunately they let it keep water in it. It froze and it busted. And so somebody wasn't watching after it good enough. I wish we could recreate that again, but it's kind of been hard to find somebody that makes that big of a bowl. But anyways, that's the vat right there. It's now got a top on it that we designed, but so we put that on a parade float. It comes down through the grand parade. It's the very last thing that comes in, and you can see right there behind, that's my son in the yellow shirt, and that's Nathan, who was Mr. Peels while ago on the left-hand side right there. They're all serving pudding. The beauty queens ride the float. They serve some pudding for a while till they get tired, because I'm gonna tell you, it's a pretty big deal to serve out all of that. And I've seen it done. It's been done the last couple of years. We've pretty well gotten rid of it. People used to bring milk jugs, ice cream buckets, all sorts of stuff down. We fill them up. We started now selling a bucket. So we make you get a bucket, or you can get a free little styrofoam cup. But anyways, we serve that out, but you can see the people, I'm telling you, they literally mob that trailer when we pull up at the end of the parade. I don't know how many people are here at that point, but it's a lot. Concert's not very long, usually after that. So anyways, it's a big deal. All right, let's give you an idea right here. 29 cases of wafers, vanilla wafers, 24 cases of bananas. And now that's pretty big. If you all have seen a case of bananas, that's a lot of bunches of bananas in there. And then 28 cases of pudding. And I believe that is 6 number 10 cans in a case. So those big, you see them big vegetable cans, that's what they are. So we have to open all those, have to put the wafers in, and it's a particular recipe that we do for each layer. But anyways, we layer it in. All right, next. Same picture. All right, so again, we have, this was 24's concerts. Kenny, our tourism guy, threw this in here. We had Blanco Brown and Drake White. Some of you may know those people. We did 21,000 visitors in 3 days. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 21,000 people here,
It was the population of the Twin Cities.
about 5,000.
Wow.
So you can see what it does
Yeah.
from an economic impact, what it does. It also tells a story. Mark and I have been fortunate. I was saying earlier, we've been fortunate. You all see the banana shirt. My wife in the back, Melanie, does a good job. I could probably wear banana stuff every day, whether it's banana socks or you name it, I got it. But anyways, Mark and I have been fortunate through our RPN network. We've traveled Santa Fe, New Mexico. We've been around. He's been to Washington, the White House. Guess what we're telling? We're telling the banana story. Because why? It occupies. You all know this. There's strawberry festivals everywhere. There's chicken festivals. They're everywhere. But how many banana festivals have you heard of? There's a banana pudding festival. It's in Cookville, I think it is. Yeah, that's there, but other than that, we are it, so, all right. Flip. This was the old grad parade, and I'm told that, Mark, help me if I'm wrong, but there were beauty queens, Miss Americas, there were army bands, there were presidential elects, that all came here. This was a huge deal. Lots of notoriety came about. It kind of fell off a little while. They actually renamed it Railroad Heritage Days, and that it kind of failed when they did that. It needed some help, but it's been good. There's a good group putting it together now, and it's really made a rise back in the last several years. Flip to the next one. I'll tell you who this famous character is. I'm sorry it's blurry. I didn't realize it was, but you can just see everybody's bananas about bananas around here, right? And that's not Mr. Peels, by the way. I'll tell you in just a minute who that is. All right, flip to the next one. So we have a Fulton's Got Talent. There's a whole list of things that go on. It's a week-long deal, but again, it ramps up really Wednesday through Saturday or the bigger days. But it brings a lot of people to town. It's really funny that people on the local level sometimes don't know the history, and I go to Frankfurt and people see me and know I'm from Fulton, they're like, they know the banana story better than some of our people. So I think we missed a little bit on marketing over the years. All right, flip to the next. That is a kiddie parade that they got going on there, and they always do a theme. I believe the theme this year, Mel, is what?
Boots, scooting, bananas.
Boots, scooting, bananas. So you can see where that's going. Flip to the next. Okay, that famous guy is our mayor. That's David Prater. He's over here. He's a pharmacist here in town, but he always puts the banana on and usually rides around and gives out banana Laffy Taffy. So during that time, so it's all a good thing. And I think that's the last one. Click one more time. Yeah. All right. So anyways, that's pretty much me. Mark, did I miss anything important?
I can share some economic development and agriculture background.
That'd be great.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So, I'm a recovering damn Yankee. I was born in Detroit. Yes, I was born in Detroit, and we moved to Fulton in 1959 with Harry Morris Seed Company. So I was raised here, a resident of Fulton from 1959 to 1979. Now I live in Murray, and I've been back for 5 years, almost exactly 5 years, as the economic development officer for Fulton and Hickman County. So let me give you some background. Fulton County in 1940 had almost 16,000 residents. From 1940 to 1970, the population of Fulton County decreased by 33%. From 1970 to 2020, population of Fulton County decreased another 36%. So now from 1940, almost 16,000 residents, we now have 6,500 residents living in Fulton County. But beyond just the decrease in population, we've also declined economically. So, and I'm not proud of this, but we're building out of it. But Smart Asset just came out with a survey 2 or 3 weeks ago listing the 10 poorest counties in Kentucky. And this county, Fulton County, is the 9th poorest county in Kentucky. The other 9 are in Eastern Kentucky. So we have the distinction, little d distinction of being the only county in the bottom 10 economically on this end of the state. We're building out of that, and I'll tell you how in a moment. But when I was here in the 50s and 60s, in the 70s, which was considered sort of the heyday. Actually, the heyday goes back to World War II. This was a very affluent community, and this could be an hour discussion about what happened, but for a number of reasons, changing modalities of transportation, just the plight of urban versus rural development in this country over many years, there was a precipitous decline. the final nail in the coffin for this entire end of the state, but especially Fulton County, was NAFTA. And when NAFTA was passed, you could argue that a lot of positive things came out of NAFTA. But what happened to West Kentucky is we lost all of our garment jobs overnight. 2,300 garment jobs gone to Mexico overnight. And a lot of the economy here, Graves County, Paducah, were related to the garment industry. That was the final nail in the coffin. The outcropping of that, and I could give you a lot of metrics, but one that is probably the most telling, from 2008 until a year and a half ago, there was no new house built in Fulton. So we lost our lumber yards, we lost our developers, we lost our contractors. Our area technical center removed the construction career pathway because there were no construction jobs in the county. So we are building back in dramatic fashion, and I'll give you some examples. And Mike can share this. We're seeing a significant rise in the receipts from payroll tax in Fulton. We're seeing both public dollars and impressive private dollars being invested in the county. I'm tracking that. In the last 24 to 30 months, there's been almost $41 million of public dollars invested in Fulton County. But more importantly, we're way over 100 million in private dollars being invested. Here's the exciting part. We have a distillery, and this will connect to the ag business. Jackson purchased distillery located a few years ago on the other end of the county near Hickman. That represents about a $30 million investment in the county. They're in an $8 million phase 2 expansion and possibly multiple of that figure in a phase 3 expansion, which could possibly also involve Fulton on this side of the county. Several years ago, about two years ago, a dairy operation out of California and Texas and Wisconsin bought a 180-acre farm with the intention of building a huge dairy operation, 5,000 wet and 1,500 dry cows. The largest dairy in Kentucky is in Logan County, and that's less than 2,000 head. So this would have been a huge dairy for the county. Several things that precipitated that not happening, including COVID and just the cost of construction. But we've had two other dairy operators at the same scale looking at that property. So I think there's a strong likelihood that eventually a dairy is going to be located here, which would represent a $50 to $70 million CapEx investment in the county. Right, let me get my bearings. Right over here is Southern Vascular. Southern Vascular is a neurological surgery center and pain management clinic that is owned and operated by a neurological surgeon out of Jackson, Tennessee. Dr. Hodgkiss is doing a procedure here that is only being done 5 places in the United States. He is able to restore blood flow to the extremities of diabetic patients and mitigating the need for amputations. That's being done right here. That's about a $2.5 to $3 million private investment. There's also across the street next to the Meadows, you may have seen Joanne's Dress Shop, another crazy success story. The owner of Joanne's has been featured in 2 reality TV shows. She's heavily involved in the pageant industry, and she is selling dresses to people all over the world, pageant dresses, gowns. Some of our clients are movie stars and contestants in Miss America and Miss Universe. I'm told that the most expensive dress that she's ever sold out of that place is $40,000. So I took a leadership group there a little over a year ago, and her name is Paige. And I said, "How's your day been, Paige?" And she said, "Man, it's been crazy. We've had somebody from Venezuela here all day." So her clients fly into BNA, Nashville Airport. She has a black car service, and she delivers them up here. They stay at the Meadows. They do their fittings. They do their glamour photography. She accessorizes them over 2 or 3 days, and then they go back. So I mean, it's crazy, and that's happening here in Fulton. Now, no surprise that agriculture and ag business is our lane. And I'm doing a lot of traditional economic development. You know, we call it chasing smokestacks, and we want to attract manufacturers to our county. But our lane is ag business, and that's why I mentioned the dairy. But no surprise here that there are thousands and thousands of acres in Fulton County that are devoted to row crops, corn, soybeans, much less tobacco than there used to be. So one of the reasons that we want to attract the dairy is, and you'll understand the ecosystem of 5,000 head of cattle produce what? Not just milk, but manure. So we've talked to a couple of the operators in earnest about what they're doing. There's a pretty sophisticated way to use the manure as fertilizer for their customers who are buying corn and other material for silage to feed the cattle. They also use a digester process and extract the methane from the waste and sell that back into the market. But the other exciting thing and opportunity with the distillery is eventually that distillery is going to be producing up to 300 barrels of product a day, which requires a lot of grain, right? But also the slop. You have to do something with the byproduct, the slop. And the byproduct of the slop can be used to feed cattle. So Jackson Purchase Distillery has just installed a wet cake processing mini plant there, where they're extracting all of the water out of the byproduct of the distilling process, and then selling that wet cake to farmers for feed. So you can see this interesting ecosystem where grain is being fed to cattle. Cattle are producing products that help produce grain, where grain is being converted into alcohol, and the byproduct then is going back into that ecosystem. So that for us represents tens of millions of dollars a year in manufacturing. And I'll end with this, a really exciting thing that we're seeing as part of this turnaround. And again, I'm not proud of this, but the entry-level wage in Fulton County is $13.50. That is not a living wage, folks. $13.50. All of the jobs that have recently been created in the county are $19 to $25 to $30 an hour. So we're probably never going to have a company that's going to employ 500 or 1,000 people. But what we're seeing is we're increasing the workforce in the county 40 at a time, 60 at a time, 100 at a time. And those jobs are paying well above that entry level wage. So again, that converts to what Mike is seeing in the city, is that the receipts from the payroll tax have doubled. that fair?
6 years, so
Yeah.
most of it in the last 3.
So, our work is reversing a 50+ year trend in decline. That does not happen overnight. But the exciting thing is we're seeing dramatic change, certainly in the last 5 years, but in the last 2 or 3 has been remarkable. So any questions at all from either of us about Fulton?
It's fascinating.
Thank you very much.
What was your title again?
I'm president of the Fulton-Hickman County's Economic Development Partnership. All of that fits on this card, believe it or not.
Thank you. Thank you both. That was fascinating. Absolutely. I'm thrilled that you all are seeing such a turnaround, and we might have to go visit the dress shop.
I recommend it.
I'm not sure that I
guarantee
can buy anything, but I do want to go see them at
Never
least.
seen anything like it.
Our next presenter is our own Kelly May, and she is going to talk about funding our travel across Kentucky. And on a budget. I'm not just funding it, but funding it on a budget. And so do you have things you need me to? No, okay. All right. So, Kelly is our Extension Associate for Family Finance and Resource Management. And do you have a new degree we need to mention?
Not
Not
yet.
yet, okay.
Coming in May.
Coming in May, she'll have a new degree we'll need to mention.
So, hi, thanks for having me here as a little slice of this, really fun piece of banana pudding pie. Our book is so much fun. I love this book because it features all parts of the state. And not only what the rest of our specialists are gonna talk about, but the finance portion too. So, a lot of these little boxes you'll see that talk about particular attractions or events. This one is talking about the land between the lakes, and then the next page is talking about the bison and elk prairie that's at the land between the lakes. So that's all in this western portion of the state. And a lot of times it'll say what it costs. And the great news is most of the things in this book are free or really inexpensive. So there's so many things we can do in our own state. And it doesn't have to just be in our backyard. So a lot of times there are the museums and the walking tours and the things that are right in our backyard. We don't even have to get a hotel room, right? We can stay home and do these things that are so close, maybe we've forgotten to even do them. But at the same time, we can get in a car and drive 4 hours and still be in the same state and see amazing things that maybe we haven't seen before. So I was really excited to get to do this opportunity to come and actually travel rather than just being on a Zoom or a Facebook Live. So we're doing both and it's been great. So, those of you who are here have a little budget worksheet available to you over on our table of goodies. And those of you on the call will have access to this after. Mindy will be sharing an email with some details and some of the information we like to share. But we made a planner worksheet for you to make your travel effective on a budget. So this is great for planning with members of your family or your friends, whoever you're traveling with, so that people can pick what is most important to me on this trip, because sometimes what I want to do isn't the same as what my husband wants to do or what my daughter wants to do. And so if we have a list of all these things, we can figure out our priorities and which things are more important and how much they're going to cost, so I know whether I can afford it or not. So I know that budget word is kind of a scary word, right? The B word. It's not everybody's favorite thing to do. I appreciate it and I like doing it because I know how important it is, but it's not always fun. The fun part is planning, picking out all the things we want to do and see, and all the activities and those things, maybe the food. I don't know about you, but I'm excited about banana pudding now, so I'm gonna need to find some. So a budget is just a written plan, right? So you need to know what you are doing so that you know what it will cost, and you can compare that to what you have and make sure you have enough to plan for it. And a credit card is not a vacation budget, you all. I think we all know that. It can help, but it shouldn't be the only way we pay for things. It should be a way to pay for things if we have the money to pay it back, right? So it's better to set that money aside and plan ahead. And one of the ways we can do that is to look at our spending leaks. So you've probably heard this before. There are things that we buy all the time without even thinking about it. They've become our habits, right? So how many people in here had a coffee this morning? Raise your hand. I know you did. I was with you. So yeah, a lot of us buy coffee in the morning, or if not coffee, some other drink. A lot of us buy, restaurants, we eat out, right? So you get that, you worked a whole long week and it's Friday and I think I'll just get a pizza because I don't feel like cooking, right? There are a lot of things we spend money on, like, services that we subscribe to. So, I bet most of us in this room have some kind of TV subscription at home. If it's not satellite TV, then maybe it's a streaming service, or maybe it's 3 or 4 streaming services. Could we turn one of those off for a while and put that money into our vacation budget so we can save up to travel? So those are, when we say spending leaks, that's what we're talking about, those little things that add up over time. So if we redirect that money to a vacation fund, then we'll have money to do some fun things. There are a lot of fun things you can do without money too. So that's where our planner worksheet will help, because we can talk about where your travel money will go. You can prioritize, and there are so many things you need to think about to know how much it's going to cost you, right? So how are you getting there? Are you driving? Are you driving your own car? Are you going to rent a car? There's gas money. It's not free to drive, right? So it does cost something. Or are you taking a train? We talked about Amtrak's this morning. If you're going somewhere far away, you might take a plane or a boat. That might be part of your travel plan. So just knowing those costs, knowing how many days, how many people, because that all adds up. And then your transportation and your lodging. So is it a hotel? Is it a vacation rental, like a house or a condo? Maybe you're camping, maybe you save money by camping, but there's still a cost to rent the site. Maybe you have the electric hookup or whatever's there. And then there are other things, the fun things, right? The activities, the sites you want to see. There might be tickets to buy or tours to go on. Your meals. I know food is a big part of our travels, and we're actually going to have a whole session on finding awesome local things to eat. So we can really enjoy that, but we can make the most of our money by picking some really exceptional ones and then maybe padding it by having some snacks in the morning that we brought from the grocery. They're much cheaper. So we could do the fun thing, but then we can do a little budget thing too. And then finally, shopping and souvenirs. So we talked about going to that dress shop. We can budget that in too. We can make money for that and have that available for a good time. Planning ahead, I love to plan. If y'all have been around me at all, you know I love to plan a trip and go on a trip and do all the things. And I want to do all the things as cheap as I can because that's just the way I am. So that's part of the fun of planning. And there are a lot of deals to be had. If you are able to travel in an off-peak season, prices are often better. Hotels cost less. Gas money may even cost less. A lot of times gas goes up in the summer. Midweek is usually cheaper than on the weekend. So if you are able to take advantage of that, that's great. If you've got kids in school, that's not always easy to do. So you can work around what you're able to. But then you can also shop around and comparison shop. So just like we comparison shop for our clothes and our groceries and everything else we buy, we can comparison shop for our vacation. And pay attention to the websites you're on, because if you book your hotel through a booking site, it might be cheaper. But if you think you might need to change your plans, it might be better to go direct through the hotel website. Because sometimes those are more changeable without fees and things. So I know sometimes those sponsored ads come up and it's real easy to click on the first thing, but that's not always the best site. So I know we've got some resources on searching up things online, and we've talked about that too, an extension, but knowing what site you're on can help. And then also clearing your cache. So like your search history, if you searched a place a bunch of times because you're really dreaming about it and you keep looking, if you clear that cache, you'll get the newest offers that show up. So sometimes it helps to clear those out and have a fresh search. Want to mention with your lodging. So you can actually save some money by what you pick. So this ties into the food. If you want to prepare some of your own meals and you pick a, maybe a house rental rather than a hotel, you might have a whole kitchen. And so if you have a group, you can take turns cooking or you can plan ahead, and we've got some meal planner resources, for that. Or if you have a hotel that has a free breakfast or a microwave in a refrigerator, might be more economical than a hotel where, you don't have those things available and it's just a room. So that's something to consider. Maybe it's worth paying a few dollars more for the hotel that offers the amenities that you need, versus one that doesn't. And then, even if you're camping, is there a grill? Can you, throw some hamburgers on the grill at night? Maybe that's an economical way to have dinner. And even a picnic outside can be really fun. There's some beautiful parks here in Fulton that we walked past to get here. And I'm excited to see those, and I wish I had time to stay here for a couple of days and do all these things, because it's really great. Other discounts might be coupons or free days. I know sometimes places will have like, free for kids on Monday, or kids eat free on Tuesday. Or, like the Smithsonian used to have in September a free museum week, and you could pick a Smithsonian museum and go to it for free. So, just different offers might be available if you look around, and then there might be discounts for, children, seniors, or students, or military. So if you have a discount available to you, use it. It'll help save you a little money. Want to talk about food? I've got my UK water bottle. It really is water. But maybe you need a coffee thermos. So refilling your own beverage is a great way to save money, because when you stop at, the airport or the gift shop, or even sometimes the gas stations will price things up a little higher than what you have at home or what you have available, where you're staying. And then, again, you could make some of your own meals. You can bring some snacks from home. So having some snacks in the car might keep you from stopping at all those gas stations, unless you just need to stretch your legs, because I definitely need to do that. But sometimes we can stretch our legs and do something a little more fun than buying a soda or a coffee. Maybe we can find a park or something and stretch our legs that way. Yeah, just things like you could pack a cooler, you could bring some snacks, and then plan for that big special meal. So don't be so worried about your budget that you don't get to enjoy the really fun things, right? So pick that special meal, pick that special place, go to that, thing that you really wanted to see, and don't be afraid to spend some money on it. Just keep it in your budget and be a little more cost conscious on the other things that aren't as special or important. And finally, I wanted to mention traveling with others. So sometimes that can be a way to do some more exciting things. I know and this is not, we have beaches in Kentucky, but this is not Kentucky I'm talking about. When I go to the beach, I like to go with my family, because when there's 8 or 10 of us, we can actually go together and afford a condo with several bedrooms and a walk out to the beach. Where if I'm going with 3, I just can't afford it. So sometimes traveling with others will let you afford the things that you're looking for. You might be able to find a rental house that has a really cool theme, that is really an exceptional place to stay that you wouldn't have been able to afford with just a small group. And then the other thing is, when you have a big group, sometimes there's older kids and younger kids or adults, who want to do different activities, and that way you can split up, and one group can go do this thing that they really want to do, and the other group can do the thing that they prefer. So just because you're a huge group doesn't mean you all have to go together to the same thing. You can make little subgroups that get to do what they like. And then just planning is part of the fun, and build the excitement in your house. So like, having a themed movie night or dinner night. There's lots of films set in Kentucky. There's lots of, nature shows that would show, like if you're going to a state park or the bison preserve, maybe you watch a nature documentary on that type of animals you might see. So there's lots of things you can do to just make it kind of fun and, get those brochures. We've got a selection of brochures over here to look at and have those things to page through and let your family or friends pick. This is what excites me, and it kind of builds that energy and that fun that makes the trip that much better. And then when you come back, share your pictures, maybe make a scrapbook or order a photo album. Put those things together and really remember those good times. So that's what I had, and I can take questions if there are any. We got quiet.
I have a question. No, I do have a
Yes.
question. So I had to look it up because I couldn't remember the numbers, but they say it's recommended, right, to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses for emergency funds.
Right.
So is there a similar type formula that people could follow for a travel budget based on?
Oh, that's a really good question. So I don't know if there's a recommended percentage, but I think it would vary so much depending on where you go, right? So a quick staycation trip that's only 2 days won't cost as much as a week-long vacation out of state and everybody's flying, you know? So I think your travel budget's gonna depend on where you're planning to go. And if that's someplace you go every year, then you would wanna have that amount set aside every year as part of what you're saving for. Versus if you normally go someplace that's a little closer and costs less money, but then one time you're gonna splurge on a big trip. So I don't have a set dollar amount, but I do think it's important to use the planner sheet to figure out how much you're gonna need so that you can save up before that time comes. Don't just get in the car and go and then say, oh, I didn't realize it was gonna cost this much. It helps to plan ahead, and I would recommend at least 6 months if you can. You know, a lot of people plan in the winter if they know they're gonna go in the summer. If you're able to travel off-peak, maybe you plan in the fall to go in the spring or something like that.
Thank you. I was just listening to the train whistle. I love that. So much fun. And last week I was in a meeting with the Commissioner of Kentucky Tourism. And he said that domestic travel, international travel costs about 6 times as much as domestic travel. So what better advertisement for why we should travel in Kentucky than it's 6 times cheaper?
Mhm.
And why not spend that money here rather than
Mhm.
out there in these international places, right? So Anna McCoy is our Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent right here in Fulton County. And she is going to come tell us why you need to come to Fulton County, because she loves everything about her county and you're going to love it too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you. So my name is Anna Morgan.
I'm so
No, you're fine.
sorry.
It's fine. We will be celebrating our 2-year anniversary on Monday, so.
And I know better.
Hey, they always say with an extension, you have 5 years for forgiveness. I'll give you, you got 3
And
more
I'm old.
on Monday.
Yeah.
3 more years. You're fine. I will answer to anything. And Cox and McCoy and Morgan, you just call. Is there a PowerPoint?
Yeah. Your PowerPoint, not his
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
No, I
Oh,
mean, not that
gee.
yours
Give
wasn't
me a
bad.
minute. Give me a minute.
No,
Let me
you're
get
fine.
to it.
You're fine. So I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Anna Morgan. I'm the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent for Fulton County. If not, I can just.
I gotta figure out how to get to it.
Oh, that's
'Cause
okay.
I can get,
So I just use it because my husband helped me make it last night.
Okay.
He's a lot better at graphics than I am. But I was gonna talk a little bit, not just about Fulton County, but the purchase area. So in the purchase area, we have Fulton-Hickman, Carlisle, Ballard, which is known as the 4 River counties.
Not yours.
And then you also have, Graves, you have Callaway, McCracken, and Marshall. So those are all the counties that make up Marshall County. I did send it, it's
Yeah, no, I'll get it. I do
Okay.
have to get to my.
So in Fulton County, in the book, it talks a lot about, the Kentucky Bend or, during a ferry, it talks about the pecan festival that happens in Hickman. But some of the other things that are in Fulton County, we talked a little bit about the banana festival. I love the banana festival because a little bit about me, I am born and raised in Fulton County. I have the pleasure of living in the same house that I grew up in. I did spend a few years down south, South Fulton, Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee. But I'm 35, almost 30 of those 35 years, I have had the pleasure of living in Fulton County, and there's honestly nowhere else I would like to be. But I like to say the Banana Festival is in my blood. My grandfather, my granddaddy, Thomas Howe, worked at the ice plant. He also worked for the railroad, icing down those bananas. So I love the Banana Festival. We also have the Meadows Hotel, which I know some of the UK specialists stayed in, but it's been around since 1901. It has 20 rooms now. It did start out in 1901 with over 100, but it does have 20 luxurious rooms. And then in downtown Hickman, which it does talk about a little bit of Hickman in the book, but Mark Twain also visited there. Downtown Hickman, there is a beautiful mural of Mark Twain. It's a very good place to come down, take a picture. Also in Hickman, you have the best restaurant. Maybe I shouldn't say that on, but Hub's is pretty good. We also have a Harvest Kitchen down in Hickman. We have Broadway Pizza. So there are several places for you to try in downtown Hickman. Did we get it?
I'm getting there.
So in Hickman County, not to be confused with Hickman, Kentucky, has Columbus Belmont State Park, which is somewhere I love going. I grew up going there for church picnics, family reunions. Just go down there to get a quickie dog when it opens up in April, May, to get a quickie dog, which is a corn dog, so good. But it is a 156 acre site that played a fascinating role in the war between the states. It is the site of fortification built by Confederates and later occupied by Union forces. It was also Grant's first battle. And then they also have in the spring, actually this month, April, they have the Spring Chicken Festival. It's the Hickman County Spring Chicken Festival. It is usually scheduled for the fourth weekend in April, and it is April 25th through 26th. It's right there on their court square. And then in Carlisle County, we have Wright's Area 252. You can see my beautiful graphics.
Beautiful. It is
Shout out to
beautiful.
Nathan Morgan, my husband. He is more technology, better than inclined than I am. Even though he turns 40 on Friday, so I like to make fun of him that
Don't make fun of
No,
age.
of him. But if you'll go down a little bit, there's just some photos where we at on the map, because we are in the true far western counties. Us in the Four River County. So Carlisle County, you have just one more, yeah. You have Wright's Area 252. Brooke Hogenkamp in Carlisle County took us for a ride in our pickup truck, all of us FCS agents, and we got to go down to Wright's Area 252, and it is a really awesome place. When I go to Carlisle County, I go to Arlington or Bardwell, and I don't necessarily think of it being right there on the Mississippi River, because in Hickman, you see it, in in Ballard County, you see it. You go to Columbus, you see it, but in Carlisle County, you don't necessarily see it, but riding through that area was pretty cool. They also have a campsite there, so you can take your RV, take your tent and pop up. And then you have the Coyle Estate WMA. That is 795 acres, primarily open to cropland and bottomland hardwoods. It's only accessed by foot travel only, but you can do some hunting and part of it. So yeah, but, and then if you go down to Ballard County, you have the Fort Jefferson Historic Site and Memorial Cross. You can't miss it when you come into Wickliffe. It's a beautiful spot to take a picture with the cross, which actually I did not know this until I did some research that they started planning for it in 1937. But
Now we got it.
and then you have the Wickliffe Mounds State Historic Site, which I'm embarrassed to say, but in my 35 years of life, I have not made it to the Wycliffe Mounds. You've been there. Kelly May has been to the
I've been
Wycliffe.
there too.
Okay, so that makes me a terrible person that I am from this area and I am not
Got you.
on my bucket list.
We're older than you.
Yeah, well, I'll get there. I'll get there one day. But what's cool about it is an archaeological site of the prehistoric Native American village of the Mississippian Mound Builders. It's located on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi River, and they built a complex settlement with permanent houses and earthen mounds situated around a central plaza. And then also in Ballard County in Barlow, you can go to the Mum Festival that happens in October. So, and as of right now, we're all eating banana pudding. So I know you wish you were here. There's still plenty left. If you want to make your way down to Fulton right now, we will have plenty of it left for you. And next is Grace County. The Purchase Players is a community performing arts center. It started over 40 years ago. Next is Cartwright Grove, which is a really cool place where they did at the Mayfield Graves County Fairgrounds. And it's set up like an old Western town. And really fun fact, that bottom picture, the white house, the white church, beside it somewhere in that we went there, Denise Woolley, FCS agent in Grace County, took us on a tour. I am very scared of mannequins. It was a jump scare. I hollered. That woman that was giving us the tour was like, "What is happening?" And I ran out. But really, honestly, it is a really cool place and it is worth the time going to look at it. In October, they do like a haunted festival, like a fall festival, and then they dress up in the during Christmas time and do
There's a
some different
beautiful
stuff.
picture with the background. Did you
Yeah.
take that picture or?
No, we found it online.
I won't ask that question. Sorry.
Some of them are actually taken by my husband. And I love to print those out. But next is we have McCracken County. McCracken County. Oh, I forgot. In Grace County is the Fancy Farm Winery. It's pretty cool. I know a lot of people who have baby showers there, so it's not just a winery. If you're not someone who partakes in who drinks wine, they also you can have weddings there. My friend Sarah is saying that you can also go there for trivia nights. So there's lots to do at the Fancy Farm Winery. McCracken County, if you are from the Purchase area, you know not to go to McCracken County in Paducah during the month of April because you will not be eating a restaurant.
Or do go.
Or do go, but it's really hard to get a reservation at a hotel because during April, the people flock to the National Quilt Museum for that, and it brings tons and tons of people out. So it's a pretty neat place to look and then that's also in that downtown Paducah area where there's just tons of things to do. The Barbecue on the River is it's held each fall in Paducah, and actually I think it happens a week or two before the Banana Festival. If the time to come to Purchase area is in September, I repeat, the time to come to the Purchase area is in September because you will hit most of all of the festivals happening around here. There's a lot of things to do, and even in Northwest Tennessee.
That's why we came in April, so you have time to plan.
That's right, to make
You
your
have
trip.
planned your trip.
Trip back, but so what I like about Barbecue on the River is they give back all that money, and it started in 2000. Sorry, they're in their 31st year, so that's not the 2000. But they have raised over $1 million, and they give back to local and regional nonprofits. So one of my favorite things about being in the Purchase area is the Freight House. Shout out to my husband Nathan Morgan for making our reservation on Friday to go to the Freight House. And what I love about it is that it is owned, operated by Sarah Bradley, who, if you don't know who that is, she was like top 3 and Top Chef, the Kentucky edition that happened a few years ago. And then she competed on the World, and I think she got second or again, top 3. And so she made this pea cake. I am not a lover of peas. It's not my thing. I teach nutrition primarily a lot, and I'm like, it's not my thing. It's not my favorite. That pea cake was delicious. So I take back all of those things I said about her pea cake because I was like, that is like sweet peas in a cake. Odd. No, so good. So it is also down there with the Carson Center, the National Quilt Museum. Those are all things. The Carson Center is pretty cool. I grew up going. I saw my first Broadway show. I saw Stomp as a teenager. They had Hadestown not too long ago. Last year, I went and saw the phenomenon Nelly. Remember Nelly? It's hot in here. So he was there last year. It was so good. But it's just really neat because we are centrally located. We can go to Nashville, we can go to Memphis within 3 hours. But it's awesome that they bring people. I mean, we have pretty great people at the Banana Festival, but it's cool to be able to go 45 minutes away and see people like that. Next is Callaway County. I highlighted some of the things I like about Callaway County, which is the downtown Murray downtown area. They have tons of murals. I have tons of pictures in my house of when we take trips and taking a picture. I love a good mural. They also have a fantastic farmers market. Also, they have a quilt trail that you can go. If you look up their Murray Chamber of Commerce, they have all of it linked and you can look up the different quilt trails. They also have the Duran Arboretum at Murray State University. So we are blessed here in Fulton County to be between Murray State University and then below us is the University of Tennessee at Martin. We love the University of Kentucky, but it gives us options for other people to go. And they have the Duran Arboretum at Murray State. It's beautiful. They also learned when I was looking up that you can get married there. You can get your pictures taken there, but there's really beautiful, beautiful pictures. Next up is Marshall County. Shout out to Vicki Wynn. She's watching right now, our FCS agent in Marshall County. One of the things is the Kentucky Dam. It's 22 miles of upstream from the confluence of the Tennessee River with Ohio. The dam is the longest in the TVA system. Next is one of my favorites is Maggie's Jungle Golf. I love some mini golf. And so I recently got married within the last 2 years. I have five stepchildren, so now we're a family of 8. And that was one of the first things we did as a whole family, went to Maggie's Jungle Golf because I grew up going there. It's family owned, I think since like 1989 by the same family. And it's a really cool place that has a lot of great, just a lot of fun things to do. And you can also rent a golf cart because I love a good golf cart, and they have like animals. They have like peacocks and llamas and different things like that. And then you're right there beside Kentucky Lake. And Kentucky Lake's pretty cool because I know it talks specifically in the book about like the bison and different things like that. So Kentucky Lake has all of the things you need. You can boat, you can kayak, you can camp because there's tons of campsites up there. So there's lots of things to do. And then last is Northwest Tennessee, because I don't want to leave my friends out in Tennessee. But I grew up going to Reelfoot Lake State Park, which is not too far from here, in Tiptonville, and it is 25,000 acres. 15,000 of those is of water and harbors and almost every kind of shorebird. And there's not a time that I don't go down to Reelfoot Lake and I don't see some kind of either a golden eagle or American bald eagle. I mean, it's a really, really cool place. And I love the cypress trees and learning how it reversed back and all those years ago, how it was made. It's just a really fascinating place. And they have a nature center. It's just a lot of different things. And they also have great catfish places and tons of places to eat. And then we have the Soybean Festival, which is put on by our friends in Martin. That is my husband's picture down there in the bottom right. He was on a fire truck. I think he was taking pictures of Shaggy, which came last year. So they have a whole week of events just like us in the Banana Festival. And actually theirs is usually the week before us. So again, best time to come is September. You come 2 weeks and you can see the artists in Martin, and you can come see our artists here in Fulton. But that is also where the University of Tennessee at Martin is. And then second to last, we have the Discovery Park of America, which is an amazing museum that they just put in the last few years. It's located just 13 miles from us here in Fulton. It offers a world-class entertainment and educational experience with over 70,000 square footage, exhibits focused on nature, science, technology, history, and art. It also has 50 acres of gardens, grounds, and exhibits outside. So it is a awesome place to go to spend the day. It's just, I can't say enough nice things about the Discovery Park of America. And then last in Kenton is the White Squirrel Winery. I feel like down in Tennessee. I went to UTM for my bachelor's and they had white squirrels everywhere. And I was like, what is this white rat thing I keep seeing? But they have white squirrels. When I got older, I found out they have a white squirrel winery in Kenton. They actually have a white squirrel festival. I'm not sure when their festival is in Kenton, but they do have a white squirrel festival because we love some festivals. But it's in Kenton and they have not just grapevines, but they also have peach, apple, and pear orchards. It is a pretty cool time to have, but if you need anything, our purchase area, all of our FCS agents across the state are amazing, but the people that I get to work with in the purchase area are some of my favorite people. So if you need anything, you can reach out to us. We have a FCS agent in every single county. We are fully got everybody in. And so you can give us a call if you need any information, but come see us in any of our counties and stop in Fulton and we will welcome you and we could find you some banana pudding. So yeah.
Thank you, Anna. I tell you, I think about Anna's stepchildren and think, what a gift to them to get to have her as their stepmom. Amy, will you come? So my partner in this book club adventure is Amy Kostelik. Dr. Amy Kostelik is our extension specialist for adult development and aging. And share your thoughts. Share that.
Well, I don't know, there's been so many good thoughts. I don't know how you can top what we've already done and learned today, but what I thought was exciting in particular about this book and book club theme, I guess you could say, is book clubs, I don't know that they're for everybody. And, I think there's, funny connotations with book clubs where you think, oh, book club, and it's your get together and sip wine or get together and have dinner kind of thing. So there's some people who think I don't want to read or I don't have time to read. But I think what I like about this book in particular is that I think it gets people excited about traveling and reading about traveling. And I think I wrote a note, Kelly, when you were talking about the anticipation of a trip and putting that together. And I think sometimes that's half the fun, maybe even more than half the fun than the trip itself, is that planning and getting ready for it and thinking about it. And I think a book like this, inspires that thought. And I think that can be really exciting. And then I think it also uncovers these, the unknowns about, like our own state. Kentucky's a beautiful state with a ton of history and a ton of variation in the landscape. And I think, as Anna was talking and highlighting the different counties of the purchased area, I think I wrote about 10 notes and thought, oh, that would be fun to do. And that would be fun to do. And so I like this book because of that. It's inspiring and hopefully will inspire you and those who are listening on Zoom or Facebook or whatever we're listening on today to feel inspired to learn more things about your area too. And I think one cool thing about travel and story, the power of story, is we all have these direct and indirect experiences. So we think, oh, I want to go there because I want to keep coming back to somewhere, the Banana Festival, because I've got this history and connection to it and it means something. But for someone like me, as an example, you've got that direct experience. But for someone like me who's never been to the Banana Festival, that's an indirect experience for me. But now I think I really want to come to the Banana Festival because I've heard these stories and these connections to it. And so I think through story, there's just a lot of power that comes from it. So it's fun to be a part of this book club and in a book like this and an opportunity to showcase our state and the agents and everything we do to make this state neat. So it's fun to be a part of it. So thank you for all being here today and being a part of this book club. And I hope you're inspired to see more of the purchase area in Western Kentucky and come out east with us as we travel across the state. It's a lot of fun.
So we will be picking up, I'm borrowing Kelly's book again. Part 2 will take us to, he calls it the penny route, which I think it goes a little bit beyond the penny route.
Yeah, but yeah.
So we're quibbling a little bit with topic titles, but we're going to Horse Cave next. And we're going to Hidden River Cave is where we're going to be. And I'm excited to do that. We're going to be talking about traveling with children. And Dr. David Weisenhorn, our child development specialist, will be our featured UK speaker. And then we're going to hear from the director of the American Cave Museum. And he's going to be talking about what goes on there. So you might have figured out already that we're kind of going to off the beaten path locations. And so we're not going to Mammoth Cave, but we're going to Hidden River Cave. And so I think it's gonna be a fun, opportunity to learn about a different cave that's not the cave that maybe all of the international visitors visit, but maybe one that you might want to see as well. To all of our purchase area agents, thank you all for being here today. And as Anna said, we are fully staffed, and that might not seem like a big deal to you all, but it's a huge deal to us because we are not always fully staffed. And so we're delighted that those of you who are with us are here, and those of you who are on Zoom are with us as well. And so that is important to us. What questions do you have for us before we? I don't see anybody on Zoom have any questions.
I don't have any questions, but with Kelly, I thought about with Kelly, talking about like ways to save money. So now I am a family of 8, but before even I was a family of 8, and it was just me and my daughter Billy. And I would plan, I love planning vacations. That's what I like to do. Even those ones that I know I'm never gonna take, I'm gonna plan them. But I'm actually working on a beach vacation this summer, first time that we're all going to the beach together. And I like to look up places that I'm going and see if they have those coupon books or like, you know, the like visitor guides. Cause I grew up, Marsha Cox would always get a visitor guide to like, we always grew up going to Gatlinburg or visiting family in Crossville, Tennessee, but wherever we went, but you can usually find those, and then those have coupons. Cause back when it was just me and Billy, I didn't necessarily need coupons, I need coupons now. So I'd love to know those places that,
Costs a little bit more with 8, doesn't it?
free. But no, those are really great places, and those also highlight like the best places to go, like, you know, like the fan favorites or the people that live there. So also a lot of your tourism or chambers have really great, that's where I got a lot of the photos from, just over in the purchase area, but they also have like places to eat and like different things like that. So those are both two things that I.
And thank you for mentioning tourism. The Kentucky tourism website is phenomenal. And if you are looking at specific dates that you are traveling, you can log on to there and tell them what county you're going to be in Kentucky, and they'll tell you what's going on in that county at that time. And so if you live in a county and you have something like the Banana Festival going on, if it's not on the Kentucky tourism website, let them know and they will put it on there. But if you're in any county, you know, if you're in Monroe County and you have the marble contest going, the marble, it's got a real name and I can't think what it is. But if you have that going on and it's not on the Kentucky tourism website, you get in touch with them and they'll put it on there for you. You know, tell them what the dates are and they'll put it on there. Now, don't tell them the day before it happens or the week before it happens. Give them a little bit of heads up and some time. But it's really a great website to let people know what's going on locally in places across Kentucky. And you can always pick up the travel guides. They're at all of the welcome centers and lots of your local tourism offices as well. If you like to have something in your hands, I actually meant to pick some of those up and bring them with me today. And it's one of those things that slipped the mind. Yes.
I also want to give a shout out to our state park system.
Yes.
Kentucky has 45 parks and historic sites and 1 interstate park. I have friends at the Department of Parks.
Yes.
But Anna mentioned several of those that are in this area and they're just gorgeous. There's so much history and beautiful scenery and things to see, and you can do most all of them for free, I think. It might be a museum, but you can always walk around.
I have lived all of my life except for 4 years in Kentucky, 5 years. I can tell you that we have the most beautiful state parks, I think. And in fact, when the Commissioner of Tourism was talking to us last week, he said that someone from Indiana said when they cross the line into Kentucky, they just go, because all of a sudden it turns green. And isn't that the truth? You know, it does turn green all of a sudden when you cross the line, and that it gives you a moment to rest and reflect and relax. And I agree. So Anna, you've given us a little bit of sustenance for our exercise.
That's right.
As we take a little walk around town. So you want to give us guidance. Those of you who are on Zoom, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry I can't take you with us on our walk, but I have gotten some shots around town, and so we'll share those on the recording, after we come back, later on in the week. So thank you, and we'll see y'all later. We're going for a walk.